Brown Dog Gadgets. Live!
Good afternoon, Friday. Yay, happy Friday, everybody. I'm Josh from browndoggadgets.com. And as always, I'm here with the wonderful Pete Prodell. He's over here beside. He's just not a disembodied voice.
Thank you.
In hand, he's a real person with feelings and credit cards. And
wait, let's try this. I'm over here on our terrible camera.
There's between a webcam and a actual camera. So today we're going to talk about a couple different things we've been working on in the shop, as well as follow up on a project we did the other day of a DIY speaker, which we couldn't get working with our stereo, but it's working now, as well as a couple fun things and a really cool knife switch you can make yourself. And we have projects, directions, and guides for all of this coming together. But it's a Friday Hangout, so ask us a question, leave a comment, call us dirty names in the comment area, and we'll feel happy about it.
Full 2 Murmur says hello. He's watching again, or they are watching again.
Thank you for caring. We're gonna show a couple things off today, and have a good time, and then go home. Because that's what you should do. You should go home. Right?
Eventually.
Like my cameras are all off. Maybe am I off? Whatever. It's Friday.
Fine.
So let's just jump right in. Oh, before I forget, if you like what you see here and can put up with our weirdness, you can follow us on all these fun social media links where we try to post these projects whenever especially when we have guides ready for them. Like the speaker project, we posted guides and videos on that. And as always, our resources are free for anybody. That's the thing. Anybody out there, whether or not you like our products at all, you can find those resources for free on our website. And like how to make your own speaker that may or may not melt the thing it's on. But yeah, you can follow us on those social media places because we try, we like. And also we live stream like typically Tuesday through Friday at 3 o'clock Central Time.
That's true.
And Pete's over here. He loves pressing all the buttons for sound effects and overlays. And
That's true.
Poker. So let's go to our overhead camera so we can show off this wonderful thing. I guess I'm to the side here. I think everything got we cleaned up everything.
Do we need to move things?
I think whatever. So earlier this week, we did a DIY speaker project, which you can totally do with Maker Tape. We posted a bunch of videos about a month or 2 ago showing us doing this on our social media accounts. And Andy, our curriculum writer, made up some nice templates so you could print off, cut out, and make your speaker. And we made this speaker on Wednesday. And unfortunately, as we showed in the video, using like an iPod or an iPhone or something like that, a small device, and just running a headphone jack to these guys directly doesn't really work because it works. You can hear it very softly. However, it's not enough kick to really be interesting. If you want to do a demo of this in a classroom or library, you want to get yourself a cruddy old stereo system. This is a cheap 90s stereo system that probably you can find at Goodwill for $5 to $10. But it has a lot of kick behind it, which is what you need to really output power to this setup. And you can easily hear it. It's definitely audible from several feet away. You can see it, you can feel it. It's even better, and you can try out different materials. Now we're using our 1/4-inch Maker Tape, which is a nylon conductive tape. We sell rolls of it. Yay, Maker Tape. And this will be an old roll. Yay, Maker Tape. Hashtag Maker Tape. It's nylon, so it's nice and sturdy, which is really handy for doing these right angle turns because you really want to try to keep one solid piece. What we're doing here is nothing fantastic because people making speakers this way since speakers were invented. Whether you're tearing apart a 1930s radio or a modern pair of headphones, speakers are typically very similar in the way they're put together. Just better materials allow for better vibrations of that sound effect. And even here, like we have a piece of this is transparency paper. I think it's actually like maybe even lamination paper. And we did this versus say like this is some heavy cardstock is what we have here. That's definitely much more flexible, and this is much more rigid. And you can try different materials and see how that affects what your speaker sounds like. Now we're going to do here what we failed to do last time because I took home the important cable that we needed to hook up our iPod to the stereo. Yeah. We need a headphone jack to left and right RCA plug. I'm going to show those off here. There's a headphone jack to your standard like white and red audio cable, what people have been using for ages. But I grabbed this off Amazon for like $5. I took the other one home ages ago, which I also brought in today. But you can pick these up. If you're going to be doing this as a demo, buy some or find somebody who has them. I think the ones I have at home are from Radio Shack. That's how old they are.
Josh, do you know what the RCA stands for? Well, you've already got a white one, right? So it's Red cable also. Not really. I just wanted to press the rim shot for it.
Thanks, Pete.
Okay.
So you just put this in. Yeah, and this is a mono speaker because we only have one speaker. And so we just run this into, we're running this into the CD jack on the stereo. And then we're just going to play some copyright-free music on here. Come on, little iPod that could. This is the very old iPod. This is the take it to a trade show and somebody steals it. I don't care.
You could probably get it at Goodwill for $5.
I got this for $10 actually off of eBay. It still has like the cruddy little information on the back from the eBay seller. Its battery lasts about a minute. So, anywho, so I'm going to play some music on here, and Pete is going to go over here, and he's going to monitor the output because, as we found, there's a sweet spot where you turn your iPod up about 85%, 85% of the way over here. Then you turn up your stereo nearly all the way. I'm going to move this microphone down in. Go, microphone, go. There you go.
Turn it up.
Turn up, Pete. Pump up that jam.
All the way. There we go.
And I can feel it vibrating.
That's fine.
So what you don't want to do is turn up your iPod all the way and your stereo all the way, and I'll show you why in a second, because the Maker Tape does have a max amperage you can handle. And is this, can you turn it down for me? This is getting too hot to handle. So we're gonna undo this, because there we go. Demo complete.
Okay.
Yay, thanks, Pete.
Applause. Nope.
There, the speaker back randomly where it was. Okay, so
That's exciting.
running into the speaker or microphone. There we go. I don't know. Whatever. I think this is.
Live.
We're live. Whatever.
BrownDogGadgets.com.
Brenda got just live. So what we found out is so using this flexible paper, transparency paper works the best. However, the Maker Tape does have a max amperage to go through. If you really want to see like how much amperage this can handle, we did a whole YouTube video on this. It's up on our YouTube page, and it's all about like us testing out and finding out what the max amperage is. And about 2 amps or so of power through the Maker Tape, it does start to get hot. Imperfections in the tape, especially on these folded corners, you'll get little hot spots. And most of the tape will be fine. Then you go, oh, fine. Ow, I burned my finger, which we found out. And we even had a thermal camera. You could see like individual hot spots. Typically what happens is a hot spot builds up into the point where essentially it burns itself out, acts like a fuse, which is great. The best situation to be in. Too hot, burns itself out. Everyone's happy, no one's hurt. If you really try, you can actually get like a flame to go, but you have to do things in just the right way. It's really tough to do. And that's with a 1/4-inch tape. Well, we were testing this out before the video started. And this paper here, you can see there's a little tiny melting point right there on the corner. And what happened is we turned the iPod up all the way and the speakers up all the way. And it was getting a little warm to hold, but it was fine. And then it started smoking off this one spot right here. And again, this is a hot spot that built up. The rest was fine, just this one spot. And so Andy, our curriculum writer, reminded us, remember guys, you have to turn like your iPod not up all the way, just most of the way. And then that guy up most of the way. And this paper was getting a little warm to touch, but this has a much higher melting point than
I
plastic.
soaked that paper in gasoline too.
Well, that explains it. I guess you do kerosene. That's a lower
I should do that next time.
burning heat.
Burning point.
Temperature, burning point? What is it? Heat index?
Flame. I don't know.
Doesn't burn as hot.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
Compared to gasoline. Things
Right.
I've learned from
Thank
watching
you.
movies.
Science.
Actually, from movies. Movies.
Science
Anyway,
in movies.
this is a great demo of I built a speaker. Here's how it is. The kids can touch it, feel it, and try different substances out. And it's very hopefully audible enough from here. But it is, you can hear it from, not being on top of it. It's very obvious. You can feel the vibrations happen. And the kids can try out different types of speakers, like different shapes, different materials, and see what works the best.
Would larger work better?
Well, yes, it probably would.
Oh.
I think to a point, get the big speakers on your stereo.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're using paper, we're using plastic. It's pretty much literally what you find in speakers today. Cardboard.
Because you want it to vibrate. You want something thin material. You wouldn't do it on cardboard, right?
And this stuff actually works better. Like it does make a better sound. When we did this test before, this was a much better sounding thing because it would vibrate easier
Right.
than this is being a very like 100-pound plus cardstock. This is really heavy paper. Using even just printer paper works better because of the way it vibrates. And we also tried this out with our 1/8" maker tape, which is just the same thing but thinner. And that might be a good way to get more loops in your area. However, keep in mind too, being thinner, it can handle less amperage. Trying this with copper foil, you can actually, copper foil is nice because it'll handle any amperage because it's copper. However, it's a pain in the keister to work with because it's copper foil. It'll break in half when you look at it sideways from across the room. It is. It just the way it is. So you could try it out if you want to make a demo as an adult who wants to very carefully do it. But if you're doing this with kids, I definitely recommend using our maker tape over any other substance. If you really want to as well, I imagine if somebody wanted to, they could glue down like copper wire, but that just seems again, it's the ease. I put this together in a couple minutes on live stream early in the week, and it was fine. It's just a bunch of right angle turns. And by the way, these directions and resources, learning like pages and whatnot are all on brown.gadgets.com for free. This is a template literally printed off the website. It's easy. Print that template onto here or just do your own. The biggest thing is just making sure you have a nice geometric shape and you follow the guide on how to make a non-conductive strip.
Josh, you could just print it on paper and put the transparency on top of it.
True.
Right,
I mean,
and
the
then
transparency actually has lines on it, too. It's
does,
printed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You kind of see it on video here.
Yeah.
Anywho, this is a really, really good project if you're doing anything with sound and electricity. So definitely I recommend this. I can't recommend it enough. And especially if the kids have their own phones, have them plug in and play their music. I look at whatever the youngsters are into these days, have them play their music. They made a speaker. This is so real to life. That's why I love when you do the real to life stuff.
It demystifies sort of, there's speakers everywhere, in your phone, your TV, whatever, and just being able to make one and plug it in. So. And
I'll say this, I always say this, like there are certain things when it comes to technology that are really darn complicated. That's just hard to understand. Like your cell phone, like what's going on the iPod? There's a ton of stuff going on in here. I can explain the basics, but a speaker is easy. Like, and that's something they interact with. Touch screens are fairly easy to understand. We use capacitive touch in some of our one of our programmable boards. That's easy to understand. More so than, how does a processor work? So anyway,
or a quantum computing.
Okay, thanks you, Kitty Young, for coming on yesterday, explaining quantum computing.
Superpositions. That
was really cool. Quantum computing is a bit above my middle school science teacher grade level knowledge point.
She was very smart.
She is very smart. Well, that's why she works for Microsoft. That's why she gets paid the big physics bucks.
Wow. Okay.
Pretty sure she's got a. She said she was working on her PhD, so it's probably Dr. Kitty Young.
Wow. Yeah. There you go.
But she's not pretentious. That's why she doesn't make you call her doctor.
No. Hey.
I joke that I just want to get a PhD, so people have to call me doctor. I'm sorry, it's Dr. Zimmerman. Sorry. Anyway, we're gonna move away from this. Since we can prove it works and redeemed ourselves after our slightly issue live stream. This is my iPod, which has no battery because it's old. I got this huge speaker stereo. RCA to headphone jack connector, people. That's the key.
That's what you
on
want.
Amazon. I'm not even gonna link to it. It was just the cheapest one I could get on Amazon Prime, and a stereo. Anyway, enough of that. All right, so moving on to bigger and better things, we're gonna show you something Pete came up with, which is really cool. Pete has made up and is currently. Are you finished with the directions, or are you done?
It's up there.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
We don't have photos, but we have illustrations.
Okay, so. The photo isn't up, but the projects. These are DIY knife switches for papercraft projects, because knife switches are a great illustration of how a switch works. It's just on, off. I was a mad scientist, like it's a live knife switch on the wall. But this is a really simple knife switch activity that you can make yourself using cardboard, our maker tape, and a couple of brass brads.
Little fasteners there.
Yeah. And those are pretty common. Pete also made a version that you can laser cut as well if you have access to a laser cutter or CNC router in your school, which many teachers and people who follow us do. And these are fantastic little guys. Because buying a knife switch is like $6 to $10 for a knife switch, which is abysmal.
Yeah. They're expensive.
Like seriously, I can buy like a ton of small switches from anywhere, even Amazon.
Yeah.
For less, like nice big toggle switches. But a little knife switch like this is quick and easy to laser cut out. Add a couple of brass brads and maker tape, and it's a nice little connection. Pete made this nice. I'll get this one. It's a little darker, easier to see, and it makes a good connection. And since the maker tape is nylon, it can handle this abuse of this friction fit
Yeah.
pretty well. And if it's say too loose, you just add
Add
more
some
maker
more
tape
tape.
on it until
Yeah.
it's a nice secure fit. And this should last you. He did this with some screws. I think probably what
I think the other one, M3. The other one has just some fasteners.
Yeah, these are just the brass brads, and so these files are up on our website. You can download
Those,
this.
I'm working on that one still. The cardboard one is
Okay, the
is
cardboard
good.
one. Sorry,
We're working
you
on
can also
the
laser cut the cardboard too.
Yeah.
So actually,
We just taped it down.
I'm gonna put
on
this
that
over
one,
here.
Glued it down there.
And Pete, we're gonna do a demo of it. Here,
Oh yeah, okay.
we're gonna do a demo so people
Cool.
know. And so, do I have to maker tape this up, Pete?
Yeah, you'll have to tape it on there.
All right. If only I had some maker tape available.
I started a roll. Yeah, it should be ready. So, Josh, fun fact about the knife switches. They used to be when you hear like throw the switch. That's that's the thing, throwing the lever into position.
Oh yeah.
And in the old days, I guess they would arc, because of the high voltage they would use them on. So some of the operators would put their bowl or hat on top of it to kind of protect from sparks flying out, I guess, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, but they're an interesting switch because it shows this. Most of the switches we have nowadays, that all the contact stuff is internal. It's hidden. It's safe.
Oh, yeah.
It's safe, but you don't see how it actually operates. So this, you can see the open and closed position, which is where we get our.
I'm using way too much
names
tape
from.
so that people I can actually move it around because the
Yeah.
knife switch is it's an overhead shot with
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, so a little extra tape. And maker tape is conductive on top and bottom, so people watching, you're just overlapping some maker tape to make the connection. And so you can see right away,
It worked.
it's working.
Ooh, okay.
And I can just knife switch off, knife switch on. This is simple.
Yeah, that one's a little beat up because I slapped it together quickly, but again, our full instructions have some tips on.
It's working well enough. Like you can see, like this up and down. It helps when I leave it on the table.
Yeah.
And again, if you want to add a little bit more, stickiness to this, or sorry, a little more.
Fun fact, Josh. This
layers of
only
maker tape.
has one fastener because that's all I had at home when I made this one. I had more at the office.
Sure, and Pete's full directions
yeah.
has you using 2 fasteners here and 1 fastener here to keep this together better.
Yep.
Just again, this was made out of cardboard. You can have your students make this up pretty easily. Now, Pete did when he built this. This is like just 2 pieces of cardboard with a 3rd piece in the middle here. He did score the backside so he can bend as an L shape up and over. Here we go.
Take that.
Oh wow! Thanks, Pete. Pete came prepared today. So this is the he actually printed off the template and glued it down to a piece of cardboard. Is what he did.
Yes.
That's why it looks nice and white on here. It's just a piece of cruddy cardboard we had in the office. And he scored with a knife.
Yeah, you can fold it without, but scoring helps kind of get your straight line a little better,
And if you glue down the template on top, the hinge is this other piece of paper. He's actually cut through on this all the way through the cardboard.
Whoops.
That's fine.
I did better on that one.
Whatever, it's fine. Or if you wanted to, say, use some like gaffer's tape or some
tape.
like other fabric tape.
Yep.
You could do that as well, just to make a nice hinge on there.
If you got tape around, you can do anything.
Or duct tape to make this hinge spot. Really, all it is just a little hinge.
I mean, you could even use maker tape.
Oh, Pete, you like that overlay way too much. This is how we spend our
My
days.
favorite. Hashtag maker tape.
Hashtag maker tape.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is, and you just punch the holes through, and it's 2 pieces like this. And then your single piece here, and then the maker tape comes up and around. So it's making contact here and contact here. You've got your terminal points. So back when I was a middle school teacher, and this was only 10 years ago, it was like 2010, 2011, I inherited a classroom full of like 1960s, maybe 1970s electronic stuff. So really old cruddy alligator clips, incandescent bulbs that were just... They broke. You could hear like pop, snap, like, gosh darn it. And ceramic bases on there. And we had a couple knife switches, but not done enough for the entire classroom, which was annoying because I went to American Science Surplus, which is a great store in Milwaukee and Chicago, a physical store, but also a great online store. They have just odds and ends of weird stuff galore. So I went there, like, hey, local place, I'll see what they have. And knife switches, and they're like $9 from a surplus store. And I'm like, I give up. I looked online, about the same price plus shipping.
Well, they're antiques now. That's the thing.
Well, yeah, but this is such a great demo. I know if you go into a Thingiverse, you can actually find 3D prints of like the old style, like gigantic knife switch, but it's an overlay for your regular light switch.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So it looks like but it just turns your light switch on and off to imagine
It's a
annoy
novelty.
people. roommates or whatnot.
This is a functional switch.
But this works, and you could use this for bigger circuits because, again, as long as the maker tape can handle the amperage up to like 2 amps, you're fine.
Yeah.
And this is probably 10 milliamps going through here, so much lower.
It's all good. Yeah. Josh, show them these wonderful this assembly guide here.
I'm
Why
sorry.
don't you walk
keep
through the
chatting
papers there?
I keep not showing off what Pete has spent so much time working. So we have this great print-off assembly guide, cardboard knife switch.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this.
There's your 4 parts and where you put the tape.
That's why Pete makes the big bucks.
Oh,
look at how nice these directions are. Look at this.
The laughing
Look at that.
sound.
We have like a maniacal laugh. Look at
And
this.
there's
Look at
how
this.
you assemble it.
I mean, this is like IKEA but better because you're not going to be left over with extra pieces. And tip, there's a tip down here.
Tip. Yeah, I added a
Look
tip.
at that.
Yeah.
It's a tip. Now, Pete also has, we're going to do this. I'm going to take the maker tape off here. Pete would also like to point out, he did a knife switch, but also want to point out he also, with this, can use a scissor switch because he was doing this before our live stream.
Switch. There you
With
go.
a pair
And then you
of
just
scissors.
push it. There you go. Come on. There you go. Scissor switch.
Awesome queen of cruddy robots, Simone. I can never say her last name right. She made a really nice lamp that was like she made her own pair of scissors.
Yeah.
Looked fantastic. She should make her own scissor switch for the scissors.
Yeah.
Simone, if you're out there and somehow watching our video, call us.
You know, Josh, if I get some plastic scissors, I could make a real scissor switch with some maker tape attached to it. So when you close it, it turns on.
And I mean, that's the nice part about this. You can actually do the laser cut version if you're doing, like you want to make some more permanent things for your classroom or for a event you're doing with kids, like a maker fair, where you don't want to have them make the full-on project. You could just make up a couple of these guys. You could make them out of laser cut material. Ta-da! Nice switch on and off.
Yeah.
And it works. I mean, this is perfect. Have this activate a switch or activate. Should use this with an Arduino as an on and off. Activate the sound effect or whatnot. There you go. As opposed to a momentary button press, you've got this as a momentary. Turn this to turn the servo one way, on off. It's a really great way to show off stuff. And having a nice little template like this out of corrugated cardboard, probably from Uline. No, was this cardboard from our paper, like box of paper?
It's from your giant bin back there.
Oh, we have a big bin of paper or cardboard. It's
a breakdown bin.
Yeah, but this is great. Like, this is fantastic. So 3 cheers for Pete and his random coming in one morning in the office saying, I made knife switches last night because I'm Pete. So yay, 3 cheers for Pete. Yay.
I pressed it 3 times.
So I guess you did a repeat?
Wow.
He's heard that enough.
Wow. By the way, if anyone has comments or questions for the
do we actually have
stream.
people watching?
Yeah, I mean,
watching.
we had
so
10.
Somebody's watching.
2 fell asleep, I think. But, it's Friday,
Knife switches, people. These are so fun. Like, you could do those like freaking
now,
third
if
graders.
you want to disassemble, here, pull it apart. If you pull the base off, you can see it just kind of, it's a pressure fit. There.
Oh, yeah. He just did
pull it off.
I'm not going to pull the base off.
You can pull it, whatever.
He just had a little pressure fit down here. This is, I imagine, what, 1/8 inch acrylic you're using?
It is, and 3 stacked up came out to 8.5 millimeters, so that's the size.
Oh, I
of
see.
that
It
slot.
doesn't. It kind of slightly bows.
It does a little. Well, I put the tape on too, so that makes a good pressure fit.
Oh, sure.
But,
I mean, look at this. You got like your little. Look at the tape.
Yeah,
It's
just
so
fold
nice.
that over.
And he did poke the brass brad through the maker tape on here.
I had to dig up poke with a pin or a knife though, because
that's fine.
The fastener's kind of soft, But yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it works.
If you wanted to as well, like. There's so many ways. Maker tape's conducted on top and bottom, so you can just overlap a few things. But making a little mini knife switch is fun. If you want to get really fancy, you could do this out of a big piece, like laser cut wood.
You could.
You could out of wood.
You could, if you would.
But should.
Yeah.
And that'd make a really gigantic one, because there's no reason you can't make a 5-foot version of this where somebody has to like, to turn like a little LED on or something.
Yeah, the fun part is, as long as you've got your 3 pieces there, your 2 ends in your middle, it's just 3 pieces stacked, so they could be any width, really.
Oh, yeah. And it's such a simple design, too, that works really darn well.
Yeah.
And you see a spot here, like it only can go down so far in the laser cut version.
Exactly.
There's a stopper right here. And he didn't use the third. There's a third spot here for brass brad as well for here, which you're not using, which whatever.
I ran out of fasteners again.
It works. Here's the thing. It works easy.
Yeah.
As laser cut projects go, this is something I could easily give a middle schooler, and then they wouldn't screw
Very
up too
easy.
badly.
Very
so,
easy, yes.
thanks, people. Knife switches. This is on our website, browndoggadgets.com. We'll throw some photos up here by the end of the day, hopefully. Because, these are great directions. Add an LED in like we did, or something bigger and better.
Yeah.
A mechanical buzzer is always fun. Those are always a couple dollars, but they usually have a couple wire leads off of them. But that with a 3-volt battery is a nice buzz and vibration motion.
Yeah.
So you can zzz, not a piezo speaker because those are annoying and just make a high-pitched whine, but an actual mechanical buzzer.
Right.
3 to 5 volts. I know Amazon has them.
Yeah.
Let's make a game of operation with one. But yeah, if any project where kids need to turn something on and off, it's easy. It's just like knife switch.
Yeah.
Seriously, people should be doing this. This is a great project. So
Thank you.
thanks, Pete.
Hey, no problem.
Yay, Pete. 3 cheers for the Pete. I'm not going to screw up this so you can use it in your pictures. Yeah, we're going to put that to the side so we can show the last thing.
Josh, I'm just going to mention again because we have more people now. If anyone has comments or questions
Knife
or
switches.
ideas for us, or you like knife switches the best, let us know.
Great laser cut file for both wood or just how to do
Yeah.
it by hand with cardboard. Both great for a classroom if other people are watching. Free resources. It's a free download. Same with the free, like how to make your own speaker. Like we just use our maker tape. Our nylon tape just works really well. You could not do this copper foil because copper foil doesn't have the structural integrity to handle this kind of friction.
Yeah.
I guess when you use nylon tape, this stuff opens up so many possibilities for everything. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, maker tape is what made this possible. I wouldn't have done this without the tape because
if you use copper foil in your classroom, you know what I mean when I say you use it because you have to. And I used to use it and even sell it because it was the only option available. So that was that. Pete, great resources on that.
All right,
and we're going to look at one last project. I mean, you've got lots of nice, Pete made lots of nice pieces here, which I didn't show off. Printed off templates and then cut things out.
I had to test it all.
Working hard.
Yeah.
We've been trying to find like fun ways of just doing some fun random projects every now and then, not just like very applicable to the paper circuit stuff we do or a maker tape. And something I came across a while ago was this old fun, like not a flip clock, but it's a flip clock-esque design. It's got these little digits that actually move around. There's actually only 5.
I call it a turn and flip clock.
Yeah, because it's actually only 5 numbers, but there's a number on each side, so it flips over partway through on the flip. And this thing, it's a nice little unit I picked off Craigslist, but the motor is shot. And this is a funky motor, too, just the way it works. It's really weird. But the mechanics are all perfectly fine on here. We're like, well, this is a really cool clock. You know, all of the $5 I spent to get it and a couple other clocks.
What year would you estimate this?
This is from the 70s.
So 1970s,
this is that
for
point
sure.
in the 70s before they went to 7-segment displays.
Yeah.
Because you have like your standard flip clock, which is the one like Groundhog's Day clock where each little digit flips over.
Yeah.
You also have, I forget the official name, it's like a cylinder where it's a full-on cylinder that moves around with 10 digits on it. And that's been around for a while. Again, these are digital displays. They're giving an actual digit, but not electronically, but physically. And same with this guy. This is like the third kind of common design that popped out. Is made in Singapore. But they're all very similar in the way they work. They're mechanical. Lots of fun gears and whatnot. And then everything moved to like 7-segment displays and with LEDs.
Yep.
And these were all obsolete. And now they're kind of in vogue these days. But if you find one with a shot motor, typically find a good flip clock with a shot motor, WD-40. There's a great flipped clock YouTube channel with somebody who goes through and explains these old flip clocks and restores them. It is a hoot to watch.
Wow.
He has only like 2,000 subscribers, but they're great videos. They're really well done. And he shows you how to fix a lot of these old clocks. But this one, the motor's totally shot.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, how can we use this? Because mechanically it's fine. And so Pete suggested we just add a stepper motor for this. And so I grabbed a stepper motor and a stepper motor driver off of SparkFun. Thanks, SparkFun. You should carry our maker tape if you're watching. Return our phone calls. Just a simple, like, Brown Dog Gadgets.
Josh, you know what the WD stands for?
Western Digital?
Water displacement. Yeah. In WD-40. That's what it is.
It's like that scene in King of the Hill where Hank Hill can't get the top of his WD-40 out, so he pulls out of the back pocket like a smaller can of WD-40 to spray that can to then get the top off to spray the lock, which is the best sight gag of that show.
Okay.
So we're going to hook up this to an Arduino Nano because we have a bunch around and just basically have it turn at a certain rate. so that we hit basically 1 revolution per minute, which won't exactly do it, because the way this thing works is actually it'll spin, 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 and there's a notch on one of these gears. And when that notch hits to a certain spot, so I can spin this, spin this, spin this, spin this, and then it flips all at once. If I did this right. There we go. Yeah. So that's how that part works, if my finger's not on a gear in the back like it was. But we're going to use over here on this side, which is just part of the alarm mechanism, and just have it slowly spin. And Pete was nice enough to... We took you took a picture or scanned
I scanned the gear on the end, which had the same tooth pattern.
And so we could just line up...
I 3D printed one to match it.
Yeah, and way to go, Pete, on your 3D printer.
Right.
Monoprice 3D printer you have?
It's Monoprice Maker Select Plus, yeah.
We have the Monoprice, the smallest of the Monoprices here in the shop. That's a little nicer.
Yeah.
Monoprice, not a bad 3D printer. And they're cheap. But yeah, we're just going to, and a little 3D printed mount just for a quick test. We're probably going to laser cut this part out and make a little tiny acrylic case. Remove this, there's like a neon or xenon light up here. They go bad over time. If you have to have a flip clock with a bad light, it's easy to replace. It's just, it's a noble gas like neon.
It is noble. I agree.
It is. It's on that far side of the periodic table.
Far side.
I used to teach science. But yeah, it's just, these are easy to fix, which I learned from the guy in the Flip Clock channel on YouTube when I was looking stuff up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just going to take out basically this entire assembly on the side here and then run it all off. It's just this one guy off an Arduino, probably put an LED up here as well, because it really was edge lighting, is just to fuse the lighting down from this neon light up here. It's just aluminum tape holding it down. And that's it. It's a great way of making a modern version of this old clock that uses mechanics. So the mechanics are pretty fit. There's a ton of gears in here. It's really cool. But unfortunately, I don't think this little guy will spin anymore. Because that's what's a cool thing. If I do this, does it still... No. Because whenever you have a flip clock, there's usually an indicator, like a dial here on there somewhere to show that the clock is working.
Yeah.
Something is spinning, usually like a little barber pole type effect. But that's not working. But there's no way we can easily get a gear up in here or down in here. So we'll lose that. So lo siento, which is Spanish for we tried. That's right. I got a very poor score in Spanish in college. But anyway, no, this is... If you have a flip clock, these are weirdly hard to find these days, like any flip clocks. Thanks to nostalgia of the 70s, flip clocks have become weirdly expensive. If you go onto eBay and look at flip clocks, there's a few of them that'll run literally $100 to $200 for a certain brand.
Whoa.
I think it's Panasonic.
Probably.
Like a very classic, like 70s silver face round. It looks really cool, but paying that much money, I picked up a working GE flip clock from Goodwill for $3. The radio part was horrible, but you could take out, with all those things, you can take out the clock mechanism, just shove AC power into it, and you're fine. It's completely separate from that, and that's what a lot of people, I think a place on Etsy that do that, they'll take that out and use it in some other design. So you can make a cool looking flip clock still, and just avoid that 70s radio aspect.
Yeah.
So it's the repurposing really cool electronics. And by the way, you can also buy modern flip clocks too on Amazon for like $20. And it's the same thing, just a modern stylized version. So
really, who makes those?
I don't know. A couple Chinese companies, but there's a couple different versions out there. But these were like flip clocks are the thing to go about, and mechanically they hold up still. It's just usually a little bit of like WD-40 and then a little bit of machine oil.
Yeah,
and they're gears. They're well made. So this is something we're posting as a bigger project later on. We have a couple other random things we're kind of working on still, but we're kind of actually pushing all of our efforts into our new microbit board. Microbit board for our crazy circuit system, which we have showed off in the past. We're going to start working towards that and working towards a Kickstarter probably in September on that. So basically a way so people can get a bunch of them, try them out at a cheaper price point that we would be selling them for the general public, especially teachers who might still be working from home or students working from home. Since I'm guessing COVID is going to keep a lot of people still back. Anywho, as always, all of our directions on our website for free. We sell our maker tape on our website as well as through pretty much every teaching catalog and library catalog out there and Amazon. We always like when you buy from us directly. But we're happy when you use the maker tape, because once you go maker tape, you really can't go back to copper foil because it sucks. Unless you want to run a ton of like amperage through it, which case go for copper foil, but then it's also
brings its own dangers, though.
use a wire, people. By the way, Pete, my biggest pet peeve when
Yeah.
it comes to anything tape-based, because we're a heavily tape-based company for all the stuff we use, is when I see people like, I did this paper circuits project. It's really cool and complicated. I'm like, that is cool. However, they soldered on parts to the copper foil tape on paper.
Well, okay, but you know what? Brian Sayre did a great workshop
does.
with that. So, like, he did it right, I think.
He does,
I've
but,
seen people do silly things, but he did it nice.
but just kind of like you remove the simplicity of using tape by adding in soldering, at which point there's a lot of, if you're going to go soldering, there's so many different options you can do
Yeah.
that for better long term, especially when it comes to beginners or students using
Yeah,
stuff.
definitely.
Like this right here, so easy to do, easy to add many different projects. But if you're going to solder stuff to paper, I'm sure there's some good uses. I'm just always like, I suppose. It's
I think when Brian did it, he wanted to create an extremely inexpensive kit for a workshop
He
that
did.
involved laying down traces and then also learning to solder. So
But he works
it
with
worked out.
adults, though, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah,
those
yeah,
college
sorry,
kids.
these were adults,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
the thing. Those were college kids.
This was
adults.
like older even. This was like a
Oh, really?
workshop at a creative conference sort of thing. So
It
I
still,
wouldn't do it with kids, no.
still reminds me of the time I had a bunch of adults at an
Oh,
event we got
no.
hired to. We were told, these is a sales conference, but most of these people are engineers. They know how to solder.
Oh,
No.
engineers don't solder.
No one knew to solder.
They use computer simulations of circuits.
There were a few engineers there, and they took forever because they overcomplicated our very simple soldering project. We had to pre-solder the
engineers.
tips and do all this. I'm like, guys, it takes most of my students like 20 minutes to do this when I used to have a classroom. You've been on this for an hour.
Yeah.
And you just do the third batch of supplies because you keep ruining them.
Josh, you know what my friend Ray says? If someone says, I'm an engineer, just run.
Someone
Run
says
away
I'm an
from that.
engineer, you charge them more because it's going to be way more. So was it set price if you want to, like $5 if you want me to fix this thing, $10 if you want to watch, $15 if you want to help,
20 if you're an engineer.
20 if you're an engineer. It's like, it's true.
Yeah, you know.
The only people who ever called in and argued with me on the phone had been old engineers. I'm like, guys, these are projects for kids.
yeah.
You're right. This is a super stupid and inefficient way of doing it. Project for kids. That's our motto.
It's about the learning.
Project for kids. Yeah, we're not going to implement this little tiny solar tracker with 2 small servos on a large scale because it's a project for kids.
For kids.
That's what it's there for. Anyway, yeah. That's why you don't give somebody some licorice and say nutritional value high. It's licorice. It tastes good. Licorice.
Does it?
Oh, learn something new. Pete does not like licorice.
Wow.
Twizzlers, no.
No comment.
Are you a black licorice kind of guy? Because those people are weird.
Whatever.
Black licorice.
You know.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm done chatting about stuff today. How about you, Pete?
Yeah, no, we're good. I mean, we got our friend Full to Memmer saying hello.
The one
That was our
comment.
comment
As we
today.
keep like slowly asking people, please talk to us, please.
Yeah.
We need the love. No, we've been cleaning the office and getting
Yeah.
like resources online lately, so it's been interesting.
Good week. Good week, though. Wait, is next week a holiday? Are we?
Friday.
What happened next Friday?
I don't know. Do we have next Friday off?
I don't know. You're in charge of
I
that
should probably
stuff.
have like everybody off. Next
Let's
Friday is the
see.
3rd.
Is it the 3rd?
Yep.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, next Friday's the 3rd. Well, we're here then.
Possibly.
Doing whatever.
I don't know.
Drinking and lighting off fireworks.
I'm pretty sure we won't be, Pete. There's a good chance we won't be here next Friday. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be asked by a higher power to.
I'm working on a maker tape igniter for bottle rockets and firecrackers. Though,
Really?
So, yes.
Oh,
I'm gonna try to control the burn area.
really?
Yes.
Okay, things. Please don't do it in the office. Things I've
I'll
learned
do it at
about.
home. I'll do it at home. Don't tell Dana. Doing it at home.
She's probably not watching anyway.
That's true.
Haha, spouses aren't watching. Anyway, so enough of that fun stuff. Make your fun speakers, make your knife switches. Those templates
Yeah.
on our website under both advanced and basic paper circuits in our directions area.
Yeah.
We'll post this up as a fun project, probably under, we have an acrylic area.
Yeah.
So we'll do a nice acrylic box for this, but this is kind of a fun one-off project and post this to Instructables. So yeah, cool beans. We're done.
All right. Cool.
We're out of here.
There you are. You can wave goodbye now. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Adios.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. Please visit browndoggadgets.com for parts, projects, and curriculum. Follow us on social media at browndoggadgets. Check out our live streams at Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We'll see you next time.